Marathon training consists of 4 main building blocks: base mileage, easy runs, speed/tempo runs, and long runs. Okay, so base mileage and running frequency. The base mileage should be built up over time, running 3 to 5 times per week, depending on your schedule. According to the Less is More marathon training plan by the University of Harvard, running 3 days a week is enough. Running 3 days a week decreases the overall time commitment of the program and the risk of injuries. They mentioned that you have 3 types of runs to do, once every week, basically. Simple. Personally, I would agree with this, especially if you have a busy schedule. Just ensure not to miss a run, okay? So if you do miss a run on the day, don't just wait till the next week to restart the 3 days a week. Just do it the next day, okay? Don't be missing out on a run, even if your schedule is, misshapen slightly. Okay, so how long should you train for before a marathon? A question that many people want to know. I certainly wanted to know when I was first signing up to do the marathon. Okay, so many runners typically allocate a training period between 16 to 20 weeks for a marathon preparation. During this phase, your heart muscles and mental endurance require gradual conditioning to meet the upcoming demands. Okay, it's crucial to follow a structured training regimen that progressively enhances your fitness and stamina. As we know, in the gym world, that is called progressive overload. And without training for progressive overload, you're not going to make any progress. That's basically how it is. Once you've got to a certain point in muscularity, obviously, of course, you make progress when you're an absolute beginner, but that's a different story for another day. Okay, simultaneously, this plan should incorporate adequate time for recuperation and repair, with a recommended minimum of 3 days rest weekly. However, that's recommended. For a lot of people, especially young people, you won't need 3 days rest. Even if you're running 3 days a week, you can still go to the gym if you're an avid gym goer. You can do other things. You don't have to just solely, these 3 days are my rest days. No excuses. Gonna rest on those days, okay? Don't just try and make excuses. You don't really need 3 solid full rest days, even on marathon prep. But it is important to recover and recuperate. So while the 16 to 20 week duration serves as the general guideline, some runners opt for a shorter, say 12-week program, while others extend their training over 24 weeks or even longer. Ultimately, the key is to design a training plan that aligns with your specific needs and goals. But of course, generally, depending on how hard you train, training for longer is always better. How many miles should you cover overall in training? Beginner to veteran. Let's just go over that quickly. So the ideal number of weekly miles for marathon training can vary significantly due to several influencing factors. Therefore, the range of overall marathon weekly mileage is considerably broader and open to more debate than the average peak distance for marathon long runs, the average peak distance being 20 miles in training. Okay, so if you're a beginner, they recommend doing no more than 20 to 22 miles in training. Okay, that's not really up for debate. However, the overall weekly mileage is, and how many overall miles you should cover in your training block plus marathon day. Okay, so in the case of novices embarking on their first marathon journey, their marathon training often encompasses approximately 35 to 40 miles per week. In the height of training, you're going to build up to that eventually, of course. So for seasoned marathon runners, the veterans aiming to achieve a personal record, or those with extensive training experience, their weekly marathon training mileage may extend to 40 to 60 miles. Okay? Plus, competitive and sub-elite marathon runners maintain a average weekly mileage of well above 70 to 90 miles, which is pretty intense. That's pretty good going. That's like a full-time job. You're just running 9 to 5 days a week, Lastly, professional and elite runners frequently surpass the 100-mile mark in their marathon training regimens, often ranging from 110 to 140 miles per week, which is even more ballistic and even more crazy than the competitive and sub-elite marathon runners. 110 to 140 miles a week, you're doing nothing but running. You ain't sleeping. You ain't having some freaky time with the missus. She's over there getting all frustrated, and you're there doing like 140 miles a week, and you're like, sorry, priorities, love. That's crazy, yeah. I mean, I don't think I'll ever get to that point. You never know though. There may be some event that I'll need to train for where I have to do 140 miles a week, but I'm not a professional or elite runner, and I don't really plan to be. It's more of a kind of passion project, all this running that I'm doing. However, I consider myself, as I said, to be a hybrid athlete, and I'm willing to push my body to its limits. Thank you very much for viewing this clip. I do hope it has aided in your journey to achieve optimum living. If you have enjoyed it, please go check out the full-length podcast episode. The link will be in the description below, or you can click right there. Goodbye.